So far in our programs, everything has been in the main function, but you can add your own functions, user-defined functions. These can be added to facilitate the top-down design approach where you have modular code. Functions in C are all in the same file. Typically what you have is the main function first, and then all of the other functions that you've defined underneath the main function. There are basically three types of functions in C. You have the kind of function that calculates and returns a single value. You have the kind of function that calculates or changes more than one value. And you have the kind of function that doesn't calculate anything, but instead it performs some kind of task like printing a bunch of stuff. In C, functions can only return one value. So a function that returns is only a function that returns one value. Here's what a function definition looks like for a user-defined function. So you have the first line, which is called the function header, and then everything after that is in curly braces, and that is the body of the function. So you have the function header, and then in curly braces you have the body, where typically you'd have all of your variable declarations first, if you have any. Generally you do. And then you have all of the statements in the body of the function. So it looks a lot like the main function, but that makes sense because main is just an example of a function. So let's take a look at the function header and what you have inside of the function header. The function header starts with a type, which is the type of value that the function returns if it returns a value. And if it doesn't return a value, then you have the word void there instead. So if the function is returning an integer, the type here would be int. If the function is returning a float, the type would be float. And if it's not returning anything, what you'd have there is void. Then we have the name of the function, whatever you want to call it. And then in parentheses, we have what are called parameter declarations. So the parameter declarations look a lot like variable declarations. And the parameters that are declared in the function header have to correspond one-to-one with the arguments in the function call. Now, if you don't have any parameters to declare, if you're not passing anything to the function, then you have the word void in the parentheses instead. There are two methods of passing arguments to a function in C. We have the call by value method, in which values are passed for the function to use in some way. So either they're used in a calculation or they're just printed or something like that. We also have the call by reference method, which allows a function to change values. It uses pointers, which we'll get to later on.